Good evening to you all. Today, we're going to talk about episode 14 from Surah Al-Aaraf. And if the people of the towns had believed and been mindful, we would have opened up to them blessings from the sky and the earth, but they denied, so we seized them for what they used to earn. The meaning here is that if the people of Mecca had believed in God and obeyed the messenger, we would have sent down rain from the sky and brought forth from the earth for them. So when the rain falls, plants grow, and we would have lifted and prevented drought, poverty, barrenness, and all those things from them. Right? But unfortunately, they denied the messengers, so we punished them because of their denial and ingratitude. Who's the source here? It's Lobab Alto al-Faimani al-Tanzil by Al-Khazin. Now, the question here is, and pay attention, no. If they had believed, that's the point here, and let's summarize it a bit. And if they had believed, see, we would have opened up the blessings. We would have opened for them blessings from the sky and sent down rain for them, but they denied. So, what do we have here? For things, I'll even mark them in red so you can pay attention to them. No, and if not. Here, this is the second one, but here it is as well, so pay attention. Here's the verse, that's the point. So, didn't God know that they would deny the messengers? So that he can use the four things I just showed you, if not, but, and so. The point here is that it's God who is speaking. Why? Because he uses, look, see what he says, we would have opened, that's us, God. Pay very close attention to how we're proceeding, okay? We would have opened, yes, but they denied, so we seized again, it's us, God, meaning we seized them, you see? So here, the one speaking in the first person is God. Did the people of the towns feel secure that our punishment would come upon them by night while they were asleep? God is asking. He himself is asking, saying, have they felt safe? The meaning is, did the people of Mecca, those who disbelieved in God and denied the messengers, did they feel secure that our punishment would come upon them at night while they were sleeping? The source is Ma'alim al-Tanzil by al-Baghawi. The truth is, pay attention that he said in the first verse, the people of the towns, and he repeats it in the second verse, and he will repeat it again in the next verse. The people of the towns. So the question here is, what is the wisdom behind repeating the people of the towns 3 times in 3 consecutive verses? That was my question. The second question. What is the wisdom behind surprising the disbelievers with punishment at night while they are sleeping? I mean, what's the idea here? I mean, couldn't you just not surprise them? You are Allah, the all-powerful, capable of everything. You could come to them at any time, whether they're sleeping or not. So, why does God seek out their point of weakness? A person, when they're asleep, is at their weakest state. Why is he focusing on that? That's the idea. I mean, that's the real question, especially since this verse is repeated word for word in verse 4 of Surah Al-Aaraf, the very surah we're discussing, and I'll quote it for you exactly as it is. And how many a town we destroyed, and our punishment came to them by night or while they were sleeping at noon. Al-Aaraf 4, QA Island here means they were taking a nap at noon. So that's the meaning of QA Island. Here it means during the siesta, as they call it, you know. So here as well, in verse 97, just like in verse 4, their destruction happened during the siesta while they were sleeping at their weakest. Here in 97, it also says they felt secure, thinking we could never suddenly strike them while they were sleeping at night. Bayatin means at night, you see. That's the story. What's the wisdom here? Honestly, I really wanted to understand this, I swear. You see, why not in broad daylight when they're at the peak of their strength? That's the story. Now, notice here as well that he's speaking in the first person, our punishment, meaning God himself. So the one speaking here is God himself. Or did the people of the towns feel secure that our punishment would come upon them in broad daylight while they were playing? The meaning here, honestly, is that God is also asking, did the people of Mecca who disbelieved in God and denied the messengers feel safe that our punishment would come to them in the middle of the day while they're playing, while they're busy? That's the idea. Who is saying this meaning? The source here is Ma'alim al-Tanzil by al-Baghawi. The question is, what is the wisdom behind repeating the phrase the people of the towns for the third time, when it could have been replaced with pronouns? Or did they feel secure that our punishment would come upon them? It's normal, and it would have been very clear this is the third time. The people of the towns. Townspeople 69, 97, 98. All right, the second question. What is the wisdom behind surprising the disbelievers? The previous verse was about them sleeping at night, and now it's also about surprising them with punishment during the day. But they're busy, playing and having fun like that. What's the wisdom behind that? What's the idea? Yeah, so that was the question. Just to point out, it's actually God himself speaking here. He says, our punishment, meaning God's punishment. Do they feel secure against God's plan? No one feels secure against God's plan except the losers. The meaning here is that it's also saying, did the people of Mecca who disbelieved in God and denied the messengers feel reassured because God is gradually luring them in and giving them the blessings of this world? They felt safe because of that. They don't understand the curse. That's the idea, basically. And of course, some people say that what is meant by God's plan here isn't just luring them in, giving them the good things and blessings of this world. No, that's what God's plan means. Other people say it means that he seizes them suddenly. Did they feel safe that God would seize them suddenly? And others say, no, did they feel safe? The whole idea of luring them in is that he gives them the blessings of this world to tempt them, so they go even further astray. So those are the two main ideas. What's the source? It's also from Ma'alim al-Tanzil by al-Baghawi. Okay, I want to understand. We've been talking about 3 verses now. God is talking about himself, our might, and things like that, and how he seizes, and so on, in 96, 97, and 98. We're currently at 99. So who's the one talking about God and mentioning God's plotting, And then it's God's plotting that's being discussed. So did they feel secure from our plotting? No one feels secure from our plotting except the losers. Here, there was a kind of switch, what they call substitution or something, I don't really know. They've come up with a name for it. This switching process. I don't know the reason for it. I don't know the wisdom behind it. Like when he says we seized and our might, and then suddenly, in 99, there are 3 verses where he talks about himself. If you've noticed, I always point out when God is speaking about himself. Here, though, someone else is talking about him, because it says the plotting of God. He's referring to himself as the plotting of God. You see, that's the gist of the story. So that was actually my question. Who is the speaker? My first question is, who is speaking about God in the third person in verse 99? The second question is, what is the wisdom behind the repetition? The plotting of God is mentioned twice, so do they feel secure from the plotting of God, sir? So no one feels secure from it, or no one feels secure from it. Let me think out loud with you for a minute. So no one feels secure from it. Sorry, so here, the pronoun it refers back to the previous plotting of God, right? So no one feels secure from it, meaning the plotting of God. except the losers. So that's the story. What's the wisdom behind repeating the plotting of God twice? If anyone has an insight or an idea, let us know. All right, now the last question, which is actually where I got the episode's title from. Sir, does God plot against humans? I mean, how does that work? Does God plot against humans and lure them in? Or does he plot against the disbelievers and lure them with worldly blessings, like setting a trap for them? I mean, I don't really get this. Or even if we go with the other interpretation, that he plots against them and then suddenly seizes them. That's the idea, basically. I mean, I just don't understand it. Why does God plot? Does God plot in the first place? And if the answer is yes, why does he plot against humans? I mean, if we're talking about a head of state, even, and that head of state plots because of his responsibilities, his position, and the fact that he's the ruler and the strongest. He's already the strongest, anyway. Why plot against me? Just send someone in broad daylight. It's normal, no problem. And if I were a dangerous criminal, they could kill me in broad daylight too, still, no big deal, but I wouldn't know. And then, I mean, divine plotting. So, is there a difference? Then, that's a question I haven't prepared for at all. Honestly, is there a difference between divine plotting and human plotting? Because, in order to plot against humans, he has to do it in their language, in their way. He has to come down to their level so they can understand. That's the whole story. Is there a difference between divine plotting and human plotting? And if there is, what is it? Has it not become clear to those who inherit the earth after its people that if we will, we can afflict them for their sins and seal their hearts so they do not hear? The meaning here is, have those who succeeded, those who came after the previous nations or replaced the nations that God destroyed, not realized or understood? That it is a mistake for them to follow the same path as the nations that God destroyed. They don't understand this matter. Haven't they realized that God replaced them with the people he destroyed, and then they go on to follow in their footsteps and adopt their ways, disobeying God's commands? Haven't they recognized that if God wills, he can destroy them for their sins just as he destroyed those before them and sealed their hearts? The source here is Jami al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by El-Tabari. Are these really the questions? I mean, here you're telling me Nasha. This word Nasha, my friends, is like we eat, we drink, or we write. It means it's a present tense verb. If we say Nasha, that's clear. A sabna is a past tense verb. Natba. Yes, Natba. Just like all of us, Ashrab is also a present tense verb. So you have present, past, present. So these are the three verbs. So honestly, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if we just simplified the issue, what flaw would that cause in the text? I mean, if we read it, I even brought it for you as copy and paste, because, look, even me. Here, I'll show it to you. Here it is. Yeah, look at this and look at that. Starting from here, of course, like this. If we had willed, we would have afflicted them for their sins and sealed their hearts so they would not hear. If we had willed, we would have afflicted and sealed. Here, the statement is from God. Why? Because he is speaking, pay attention here. Because this is an important topic. We God afflicted. Pay attention to the words. We God here, we seal, we God. So, this way you understand that he is the one speaking, not someone else talking about him. Those are the towns whose stories we relate to you, and indeed their messengers came to them with clear proofs, but they would not believe in what they had denied before. Thus does God seal the hearts of the disbelievers. What does this mean here? It means that God is telling the Prophet Muhammad the news about the polytheists from among the people of the towns. Who are they then? They are the people of Noah, the people of Ad, the people of the mud, the people of Lot, and the people of Shu'aib. All those we just talked about, all those who came before. For what reason? So that the Prophet knows that God destroyed all of them and supported his messengers against them. That's one reason. And also so that the Prophet Muhammad knows this. He knows that our Lord is always on the side of his messengers and destroys the people who deny the messengers. That's one reason. And also so that those who deny the Prophet Muhammad, on the other hand, know the consequences of their denial. If they learn this story, that God destroyed all those people of the towns, they might be deterred. And keep in mind, because God, be aware, might seal their hearts. You know, the hearts of those for whom disbelief has been decreed, meaning they will never believe. The point that caught my attention here is, so they would not believe in what they had previously denied. Pay attention, because here we're dealing with the problem of truth. Why is that? The question here is, when was it presented to them before? Because it says, so they would not believe in what they had previously denied. Let's say, for instance, that there's an implied subject here. You see, it's what they had denied, just so we're all clear. What they had previously denied, there it is, what they had previously denied. But when was it even presented to them in the first place for them to deny it before? It wasn't even presented to them at all, you see. So how could they have said no? So, what's our source here? Of course, the source is Al-Jami al-Bayan fi Tafsir al-Quran by al-Qurtubi. The source says, no, this story. So they would never believe in what they had previously denied. There are actually 3 opinions on this, sir. The first opinion says, the polytheists could never believe in what they had already rejected before. When was that? When God took a covenant with them after bringing them out from Adam's loins, not today. So, pay attention, what does that mean? God presented them with the same offer that Prophet Muhammad is presenting to them today. Those people, the people of Mecca, were offered faith when they were brought out from Adam's loins. It was offered to them once. So today, it says, so they would never believe in what they had previously denied. That's one opinion. All right, fine. Let's look at the second one. The second opinion. It says no. They would never have believed in what the messengers brought. Because naturally, according to God's prior knowledge, he knew that faith would be offered to them and they would disbelieve and reject it. That is, according to God's foreknowledge, just so you're aware. So, they would never believe means, according to God's prior knowledge, that they would reject what would be offered to them. I hope that's very clear. That's the second opinion. The third opinion says no. It says that these people, meaning the people of Mecca, or the polytheists from Mecca, would not have believed even if God brought them back to life after their destruction. You see, they wouldn't have believed in what they had denied before they were destroyed. I hope that's clear as well. Just so you know, it's really quite simple. That's the third opinion. Meaning, these polytheists, even if their Lord brought them back to life after destruction, they still wouldn't have believed in what was presented to them before they were destroyed. Here are the supposed questions. First, what does the address here mean? You're telling me, you're saying here, we narrate meaning God. All right, here's the noon, the pronoun, you see? And then at the end of the verse, you say to me, he seals, meaning God. You get what I mean? I don't really get this. Those are the towns. We narrate to you that. We, God, narrate to you, Muhammad, some of their stories. And then at the end you say, likewise, he seals, meaning God. So likewise, we seal the hearts of the disbelievers. We narrate, we seal, meaning me. That's how I understand it. What's this story about? My understanding of the matter, because, keep in mind, it came in verse 100, just before this, we seal. The second question, why did God send messengers to them if he had already taken their covenant when he brought them out from Adam's loins and they disbelieved? And once, according to his prior knowledge that they would not believe and would disbelieve. And keep in mind, another time, that they wouldn't believe even after their destruction, even if God brought them back again, they still wouldn't believe. That's the idea. So why does he send messengers to them? Why? These are the three cases, or the three opinions, that say they wouldn't believe no matter what. So he sends them messengers. But why though? The last point is, how does God hold them accountable for their disbelief when he's the one who decreed disbelief for them and sealed their hearts so they would never believe? I mean, honestly, I just don't get this. And that's why it says, thus does God seal, there you go, thus does God seal the hearts of the disbelievers. Even the source says that whoever's heart God seals will never believe, ever. So if you're the one who sealed his heart, how are you going to hold him accountable? Why not just leave them alone? Maybe they'd come back, but knowing he intervenes, seals their hearts, and then holds them accountable in the end. And we did not find most of them true to their covenant. Indeed, we found most of them to be defiantly disobedient. The real meaning here is that God himself is saying, we did not find most people. And some people say, we did not find most of the towns, most of the people of the towns. You see, except for those who broke the covenant, meaning, we didn't find anyone at all from the people of the towns, or from most people, except those who broke their covenant with us by not believing in us as God, and by disobeying God's commands. That's who we found. That's what we found, basically. You get it? Who is it? Who is the source here? Al-Wasit in the interpretation of the Quran by Sheikh Mohammed Syed Tantawi. The question is, didn't God know that the people of the towns were breaking the covenant and were sinners? I mean, I don't get it, because he's saying, we didn't find anyone except those who broke the covenant, and we didn't find most of them except as sinners. That's the story. So honestly, we found as mentioned twice, you know. So you're telling me, and we did not find, that's one. Here it is, pay attention, that's the verse, that's the story. Most of them had no covenant, and we found, meaning, you know. I mean, if we take these out completely, the second we found, but most of them, here, let me show it to you so you can see it for yourself. But look, most of them were sinners. Honestly, I'm just trying to think out loud with you, because when I research the Quran or any book, I don't approach it as a holy book. Because if you approach it as a holy book, that means you've completely lost your neutrality as a researcher. Exactly. You have to approach it just like any ordinary book, whether it turns out to be human, sacred, or whatever it turns out to be in the end. And if God grants me a long life and I finish the Quran and move on to the Bible and the Torah, I will follow the same approach. I mean, there's no book better than another. So honestly, I'm just discussing things as they are in front of me, so I hope people don't get upset with me. So honestly, if you ask me in the end, who is it that revealed God? Who is it? Who embodied God? I would tell you it's the Quran, because God does not deceive. God does not take anyone by surprise while they're sleeping, or during a nap, or while they're just having fun and playing. So honestly, all of this needs a different perspective, a new understanding, a fresh reading. Because honestly, I'm tired of constantly repeating Jalal al-Din al-Suyuti's perspective. Jalal al-Din al-Suyuti's view that the Quran is a revelation from God. The idea that the Quran is about justice, mercy, fairness, and all of that, supposedly, it's a comprehensive, complete vision that God revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, and it was the Prophet Muhammad who actually formulated these words. That was Jalal al-Din al-Suyuti's perspective, and don't ask me for my opinion on it, whether I agree or disagree. That's a different topic. Thank you very much for your patience, and goodbye.